Welcome back to Teacher Kim's video discussions in Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person. When you hear the bell, it is time for new lesson, new knowledge, and most of all, new wisdom. What if Philippines has no laws, no government, and no sets of social order? How do you believe we Filipinos will behave? Will we live in violence, or our life would be same Philippines with laws, government, and sets of social order? Let's explore the answers of philosophers. But to be able to connect to their answers, knowledge on the previous lesson is important. Let's see what you've got. Question number 1. This is recognized as the earliest and the simplest form of society. Again, this is recognized as the earliest and the simplest form of society. A. Feudal society. B. Hunting society. C. Computer society. And D. Industrial society. The correct answer is hunting society. Question number 2. What form of society grants followers or vassals the right to manage parcels of land? I repeat, what form of society grants followers or vassals the right to manage parcels of land? A. Hunting society. B. Gathering society. C. Feudal society. And D. Pastoral society. The correct answer is C. Feudal society. Question number 3. Which among these terms refers to actions and behaviors expected for a certain individual? Again, which among these terms refers to actions and behaviors expected for a certain individual? A. Laws. B. Social role. C. Folkways. And D. Norms. And the correct answer is letter B. Social role. To review further, what comes in your mind when I say hunting and gathering society? How about pastoral society? What is your idea about horticultural society? And what can you say about post-industrial society. Going back to the question, what if Philippines has no laws, no government, and no sets of social order? How do you believe we Filipinos will behave? The social contract theorists lay down their answers. This is why our lesson is about social contract theory. At the end of this video lesson, you are expected to define social contract theory and evaluate the views of philosophers about social contract. Before we will discuss your module, you need to gain knowledge about these three key terms: state of nature or nature state, social contract, and sovereign. By doing so, understanding your module will be easy. State of nature is a pre-social condition. It is during the time when people work together but nothing has been set up. No government and no contracts has been set up. This is where social contract entered into the scene. It is an agreement between members of community. This social contract will not prosper without a sovereign, the legitimate head of state that is granted power after the social contract. Consider this as an illustration to these three key terms. This image shows people who are working together. Despite being together, each of them does not have group or team understandings. No rules, no guidelines, no government, no team goals. This is state of nature. What comes next is a social contract. Each individual agrees to define limits of rights as well as defining duties of each other. Our Philippine Constitution is a great example. It enumerates people's rights and responsibilities. When you enrolled in high school, you agreed to follow the school policies. Even inside your group of friends, sometimes you created policies. And yes, this is social contract. The created social contract needs a sovereign that has everything to do with power. A sovereign is needed to control the society. The question is, what makes up a sovereign? For some, sovereign is a ruler, a king, a president, a leader. It is important to note, however, that sovereign may also refer to the will of the people that controls the society. The prominent proponents of social contract theory are the social theorists Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. They grew up during Enlightenment period, a period in late 17th and 18th century intellectual movement emphasizing reason. This leads the period to be also called as the Age of Reason. Using reason, the mentioned philosophers tackled the origins of human society. First, we have to understand their views about human nature. For Thomas Hobbes, men are selfish because they are governed by their desires. John Locke, on the other hand, opposed Thomas Hobbes. For him, men by nature are rational, meaning they can control themselves, given the opportunity. Jean-Jacques Rousseau said, men are good, but can be corrupted. Second, let us look at their claims regarding the state of nature. Believing that men are selfish, Thomas Hobbes argued that the life of man is in a dangerous place in the state of nature. Being governed by their desires, men often lead to conflict with their fellow men. Because men are rational by nature, then John Locke said that persons in their state of nature are more cooperative. No government? Yes, but not chaotic because of rationality. The state of nature is a wonderful and rich environment for Jean-Jacques Rousseau. State of nature is something perfect beyond understanding. Now let us look at their views about the sovereign. How does a society must be controlled? Who controls the society? For Thomas Hobbes, a monarch. People are selfish, they are evil, and they don't care about others, thus, man needs somebody to take control. Monarch is needed. For John Locke, democratic elections by people must be put in practice. People as rational beings should control the society. Jean-Jacques Rousseau has almost the same claim with John Locke. People must take control. Because people by nature are good, people vote, and people are sovereign. Lastly, what kind of contract must be adopted? How to form an agreement for the benefit of all? Thomas Hobbes claimed that because men by nature are selfish and that the result would be chaos under the state of nature, people who establish societies enter into a social contract where individuals sacrifice an amount of their freedom and submit to a higher authority known as monarch. For John Locke, social contract must be established through the consent of the individuals that organize it. He called this consent of the governed. Social contract is a covenant among individuals to cooperate and share the burden of upholding the welfare of society. Yes, people vote through a democratic election, thus, the authority should reflect the ideals of the people. Should the authority fails, he will be replaced with a new one. Jean-Jacques Rousseau argued that the social contract must be parallel to the general will. Rousseau believed that even if the people are the ones who organize society and established an authority or government, in extreme cases, the government is able to impose its will on the people. This is based on the assumption that the people have empowered the government to act on their behalf, and that is considered to be the best judge of what is most beneficial for the society. At this point of time, we will analyze social contract theory by localization. Let us presume that Alameda is under the state of nature. What will be the situation of Alameda under the theory of Thomas Hobbes? How about under John Locke? How about under Jean-Jacques Rousseau? What will be the situation of Alameda? If the present Alamedians live during the Enlightenment period or the Age of Reason, we are all selfish by nature in the eyes of Thomas Hobbes. We are all driven by our desires and life will be in trouble. Everybody may fight each other and the place will be in chaos. So we need a monarch, someone who will have the power to control everything, and that every Alamedians will submit to this authority. This could be a mayor or whatever term Alamedians will call him. The effect, Alamedians will live in peace without rights. If John Locke will be followed, the present situation of Alameda will be almost the situation of Alamedians. Each individual can decide on their own because each is rational with natural rights to life, liberty, and property. So life is not chaotic even without a government. But in order for the place to have a system, a contract is still needed. A contract where the consent of all Alamedians needs to be observed. In a democratic election, people will vote the government. Alamedians will elect mayor, vice mayor, and other leaders in the community. The only thing that differs in the claim of John Locke is the elected officials must strictly observe the consent of the people, because if not, they will be removed and replaced with no one. The effect? Natural rights will be enforced by a government created with consent. Life will be fair if we follow general will and set aside personal preferences, according to Jean-Jacques Rousseau. This will be the effect of social contract to Alamedians. How will this happen? By nature, Alamedians are good and compassionate. However, if merged with different beliefs, can be corrupted. Say for example, I don't believe that God exists, but you do. If we will talk to each other, either me or you will be corrupted. Hence, while the Alamedians are the sovereign, the government must impose its will to the people because people empowered them to act on their behalf. Now is your time to evaluate what you have learned. Answer these two questions in one whole sheet of paper. First, what is social contract theory. And second, you create a 4x3 table. In the first column, you write the name of the philosophers. In the second column, you write the advantages of their claims. And in the third column, you write the disadvantages of their claims. So do good, and see you in the next edition of Teacher Kim's video discussions in Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person.